Hi everyone, Krista Stone, your Scentsy Star Director with Team Wickless Rocks. And I wanted to talk to you just a little bit about something called the paradox of control versus non-control. It has a lot to do with our business. What can you control and what can you not control? You can't control how many parties you book. You can't control how many people you sponsor. What you can control is how many people you have a booking conversation with and how many people you have a join conversation with. So one of the things that we've found, and there's an article I post down below that I really encourage you to read, but it talks a little bit about creating your lower boundary and your upper boundary. So in other words, my lower boundary is this is an example, I'm going to have 10 booking conversations every week. My top boundary could be I won't have any more than 30. Now the reason that you have a bottom, obviously, so you have something to always be striving towards. And the reason you have a top boundary is, let's say you booked 6 parties in a week. Well, that's just too much for me. I couldn't do that. So you have to be able to know what your limit is, what you're able to accomplish. So it's important to have your upper and your lower boundaries. The reason that we want to do this, well, first of all, let's just talk about discomfort. There's 2 kinds of discomfort. There's the discomfort of having an unwavering commitment to your high performance in difficult situations. So in other words, when you have a goal of having, 15 booking conversations a month or a week, it's a little bit uncomfortable. So that's some discomfort. So this imposed discomfort is really important to the success of our business. The other discomfort, and again, we're talking about upper bounds and lower bounds, the other discomfort is learning to hold back when conditions are really good. So again, an example is I do fairs. Well, what if I booked a fair every weekend? By the time I got through 2 months, by the time I got through 1 month, I would be exhausted and it would take me a couple of months to recover. So I know my limit, my upper bound, is I can only do 1 major event a month. And that's usually a 14 to 10 day event. So when I do that 1 event, I also know that I can do a 1 or 2 day event during the month. So that's all I can do as far as events go. So that's my upper and my lower boundary. So why is it important to know these things about yourself? Well, one thing, it builds your confidence in being able to perform in adverse conditions. So let's say everyone's saying, oh, I can't get parties. All right, challenge you to have 10 booking conversations this week. What you'll find by being uncomfortable is that there actually are parties out there to be had. The reason we think there are none is because we're not having the conversations. It also, by having these bounds, it reduces the likelihood of catastrophe when you're in turbulent times. So by consistently sticking to your to what you can control, which is the conversations, by consistently sticking to that, you minimize the impact of poor conditions. And it also, it helps you exert control in an out of control world. You cannot control how many people will say yes to a party. All you control is how many people you can have that conversation with. So I'm going to challenge you to create for yourself your tangible goal, your upper bounds and your lower bounds of how many booking conversations you're going to have and how many recruiting or sponsoring conversations you're going to have each week. And I'd like you to post that down below this thread. One more thing I just wanted to show you, because for me, one of the problems I have with booking, sponsoring conversations is I forget who I'm talking to. What did that person say? Ugh. So I have something I call my tip book. people who are talented, interested, and have potential. And then what I do is I have these pages, and on each page I write their name and the conversations I have, and then when they've joined, I write, of course, joined. But this gives me an opportunity to go through and keep on track. And I look through this book, gosh, if not every day, then every other day, just to keep myself on track. It takes me, 2 seconds to look at it and remind myself. So this helps me keep on track with my goals of my sponsoring conversations. I also have one for parties and for hostesses. And what I do, same thing, where is it? I have conversations, I put in here the number of conversations I have with each hostess. Again, it helps me to keep on top of my goals and the conversations I have. It's a little uncomfortable, but it keeps me on top of it. Having those conversations, no matter how successful we are or where we are in our business, will always be uncomfortable. You'll get less uncomfortable with them the more you do them. So I encourage you to create your how many sponsoring and booking conversations you're going to have and post it below here. And then I'm going to randomly pick someone who posts here for a prize. I'm going to send you a little something in the mail. So that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening, and I'll see you on Facebook. Bye.